and nephews to an all-new episode of Crawl Before You Ball, Love, Relationships, and Money. It's me, Auntie Buffie, the auntie that gives you all the advice, whether you want it or not, because I feel that you need it, and I love you, okay? So, before we get into today's show, remember that if you have a question, a pregunta, for Titi, all you have to do is text CBYB, that's for Crawl Before You Ball, to 404-737-1091. Also, for y'all that are new to the show, why should you listen to Auntie? Well, Auntie's been married for 20 years to the same person. Shade. I've been with Uncle Dave for 25 years. We shacked up and lived together for 5 years before we got married. I used to be a licensed mortgage broker for commercial and residential real estate. I was a licensed tax practitioner for over 20 years, so I know all things tax and finance. And I was a licensed life and health insurance agent and property and casualty. So she walks it like she talk it, okay? So that's why you should listen to TT. This podcast is brought to you by the Acast Podcast Network. Now, as always, Auntie has to give you your daily dose of vegetables. Now, before we get to kicking and laughing and having fun with our guest for today, Auntie needs you to hear her, listen. I need you to write, escribes, and take in what I'm about to tell you. All right, so when you first start a relationship with someone, it's all lovely and happy and all this and that. And then, we might be getting a little bit more serious. When do you decide that you should start talking about finances when dating? We ain't talking about later when you're married and all that, because y'all better have talked about it before then. But when you're dating someone, when should you start talking about finances, and how do you do it? Listen. If y'all are borrowing money from each other, we need to start talking about finances. If we've been dating for several months and we know that this is the one and we're getting serious and we think we want to go somewhere and build a future with this person, we should start talking about finances. Quite honestly, Auntie would be at a speed dating place and be like, what do you do for a living? What's your credit score? But that's just me. That's just me. Because I know that 60% of marriages break up and divorce. Break up from divorce because of money problems. And a lot of that isn't because the person is shady and had bad credit and did all this. It's because y'all don't have a conversation about it. It's because y'all don't talk about it from the beginning. When you join together with somebody in a relationship, when you're dating and you think you're going to take it to the next level, perhaps, finding out about their financial background can kind of help aid in that decision of whether you need to take it into the next level. Some people ain't up for taking on somebody's financial baggage. Somebody else might be. If you're something like, the couples that come together, like there's a spender and there's a saver, which I think are the ideal couples because you balance each other out. Because like with me, with Auntie, we would never go on vacation ever. I would save and never spend a dime. But Uncle, he likes to, ball a little bit. And so you can balance each other out. So I think when you first start dating someone and you like them and you think it's about to get serious, you need to go ahead and start, inching into those financial discussions. And the way you do it is, casually bring it up at dinner. Casually bring it up when you're snuggling. Bring it up when everything is good. Don't bring it up when stuff is bad. Figure out if they have codependent relationships with family members. Like you paying your sister's bills and you're getting cash app requests from your auntie every other day. If your partner is somebody that is diligent about saving for the future. If you both come from a background where your family members were borrowing from Peter to pay Paul and that's all you know. If one of you is better off with money than the other one, if one of you earns more money than the other one, like these are topics y'all need to discuss. And it shouldn't be scary. And I say this all the time. You swap and spit with somebody and sleep and laying up with them and you worried about talking about money. Make that make sense to TT. Which one is more invasive? Listen. I think when you start dating and you like somebody and you want to take this to the next step, you need to talk about money. You can't get around it. You really can't. And you've got to determine the person you're dating, what type of financial person they are. You learning, they like to dress, they look nice. This person good in bed, this person's this and that. Why can't you learn about who they are as a financial person? That's a part of who they are. And that's a part of your life that you can't get around. Stuff costs money. We got to pay bills every day. And so it's important to know more about your partner in this regard. And if you bring up this topic and the person totally shuts down and doesn't want to discuss it, is that something that you can put up with? Is that something that you're willing to grow a relationship on? Because if you take dating and you go to the next step of living together or marriage, that's not something that's going to last. That's not something you can build a financial future on if only one person is willing and open and honest about the couple's finances or their finances and not the others. You can't hide that from each other, and you shouldn't be afraid to do that. This isn't like telling the street your business. This is the person that you're dating, and this is the person that you are forming a life with. Like when you date somebody, it ain't just to go out and get free meals. If you're just dating somebody because you want to go out and get a free lunch, now listen, TT may have been known to when she was in college to have accepted a date or two because she cried before she balled for a meal. Don't judge. I'm just keeping it real. Those were the type of people. That's not the dating I'm talking about. The dating I'm talking about is you done took this person home to meet mom and daddy and the family. They're that important to you. Y'all are starting to stay over each other's house more than you can count. It's getting serious. And so we need to know who this person is financially, not just who you are inside sensitively, or how you physically look, or how you are in bed, or how you are with my friends, or how you are with your family. I need to know how you are managing your coins. Are you a crawler or are you a serial baller? Are you a $30,000 a year millionaire, or are you cheap as hell and don't understand the balance between being frugal and being cheap? Because there's a difference. Auntie is frugal. Frugal means that I don't waste money. Like I'll ball on appreciating assets. I will ball on some real estate. Just like Lucy said in Peanuts, hey, buy me real estate, honey. I can ball with that. But what I'm not going to ball with is vehicles and stuff that depreciates as soon as you drive it off the darn lot. That's frugal. Cheap is somebody like my daddy, who I love you, Dad, who drives around to 15 different gas stations looking for the cheapest gas. When it's like, fool, you done already burnt up all your profits. Driving around to 18 different places looking for the cheapest gas. And that's something that would drive me crazy. Learn who the person is before you take it to the next level financially. And people can have financial differences in a relationship. Like I said earlier, if one is a spender and one is a saver, y'all can use those two different attributes to balance each other out. You just have to talk, nieces and nephews. You have to not be afraid to share your dreams for the future, your problems from the past with the person you want to build a life with. Because who else can you trust? I mean, other than your mama and your parents. You can't build a meaningful life with somebody if you can't be fully open and honest with them. You just can't. Those relationships don't work. And y'all, when you're dating and y'all want to take it to the next level, and I know we ain't talking about marriage, but I'm on my soapbox about this. Y'all stay running to the church and letting the pastor do couples counseling and all that. And that's fine for religious reasons. But you might want to carry your behind to Auntie Buffie and talk about couples' finances, especially if you're about to take the next step and move in together and then later maybe get married. Because we've got to determine who each of us is as a financial person, as a tax person. Do you get big tax refunds? Do you spend it up on rims and crazy crap, or do you save it? Are you the person like Auntie Buffie who doesn't believe you should be getting tax refunds? Why in the world are you giving the government an interest-free loan and want you to change your withholdings so that you can get more of your money during the year where you can invest it? We got to determine all that before we move to the next step. And we have to both of us argue our points, and then figure out as a couple who we are together in this relationship, in this life. As a couple, there are always three different things. There's you, me, and then us. Who is us financially? I may be a heavy saver and would live in a damn trailer if it was an appreciating asset. But as us as a couple, because I need to compromise and bend and grow and understand my partner's point of view, maybe as an us, I'm someone who will spend a little bit more on a place where I lay my head at night because that's important to my partner. And it makes sense for my financial goals because we're going to buy a house instead of renting and making somebody else rich. These are conversations that you got to have together, that you got to just not be afraid to ask each other. And it should be exciting, guys. It should be exciting to talk about this together when you're starting a new relationship. This should be like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see who we are together and where we can take this relationship. Get rid of the fear. And if you can't trust a person, well, maybe that person ain't the person for you, baby. And maybe you don't need to take it to the next step. Now, if you have a question for TT, all you got to do is text CBYB to 404-737-1091. Hey, nieces and nephews. Guess what? Now we get to kiki and have fun with my nieces and nephews, Ejiro and Sabine. Don't they look good, baby? Yes! Welcome, my niece and nephew. Now, y'all had one of them big Essence weddings too, I heard, through the grapevine. And y'all been married.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
And y'all been married for now 3 years?
Yes. 3 years.
Oh, well, tell me a little about this wedding, and then we're going to get into the nitty gritty.
Oh, so Ejiro, he's Nigerian. So traditionally for a Nigerian wedding, you always have two weddings, the traditional wedding and a white wedding. So we knew we wanted to do it different from everyone else. So we were like, we're going to rent out an estate. His idea.
Wait, hold on. First of all.
Wait a minute, she just threw you all the way under the bus, nephew.
First of all, it was during COVID.
It was.
So all of the venues were already booked out from people whose weddings were canceled already. And for what we wanted, like, we needed our own space. So we rented out a 21-acre mansion.
Stop playing with me, nephew. How many people came to that wedding?
450. Yes.
Wait a minute. Y'all said that with y'all whole chest like that was nothing.
First, we didn't invite all of it. First of all,
we did not invite everyone.
It's 2 weddings, right? So the first Nigerian wedding happened. I guess it got around for the people who politely declined, and all of a sudden, we seen like 400 plus people coming in on the Saturday wedding because it was like Rock Nation brunch.
It was.
Oh no!
It was beautiful though. It was stunning.
Did you get to eat your food?
I did. One thing I do not play about is my food. I ate everything.
We don't play.
Yeah, because see, I hear from nieces and nephews who have these elaborate weddings that they're so busy going around greeting people that they never get to even eat their food. So I'm glad that you have fun. You did all the things. You planned for this, and it didn't put you in a position where now you're regretting it. You loved your wedding, and you have fond memories of it, yes?
Yes.
Good. Well, I'm happy for y'all. Now, Ejiro, I think you have a question for TT. What's your question, baby?
Okay. I do have a question. And
wait. Hold on 1 second. The drip is next level. Again, I got to say. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. I decided to shower today.
No, please.
So the question that I have is, when is it the best time to bring up a disagreement? For example, like I told her to...
Who is her? Who is her?
Sabine.
Your wife.
Wait, scroll back. You know, say that with your scroll back. Who is her?
I told my wife, hey, let's not leave the baby's bottles in the dishwasher because it could get moldy. And then she chooses a time to say, well, you leave your shoes at the door. We're not talking about shoes right now. So when is the best time to bring up a disagreement?
You mean in the moment, or should you wait and let it fester and talk about it later, nephew?
Or don't bring it up when I have an issue.
Listen, as someone who's been married for 20 years and with my man for 25, I'm going to tell you this. Don't sweat the small stuff, right? And I think communication is key for me because I'm a messy Capricorn. It's imperative that I discuss it in the moment. I don't need to not say anything and let it fester. Now, no, is it really smart to throw you under the bus about the shoes when you're bringing up about the baby bottles? No, but if she feels like she wants to discuss that because she feels attacked in the moment, then you both take a beat and address each other's concern. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think a lot of people think that when you get married, it's just going to be like, la, 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 like that fairy tale wedding and all that. And you're never going to disagree. And you're never going to, like, I'm very OCD, clean and neat. Your Uncle Dave is not. Mm-hmm. And we had to find a happy medium. And so for me, it was just, I don't want to argue about it all the time. So I'm just going to do it myself.
Yeah.
So if I don't like the bottles in there, I'm going to take them out. I'm just gonna take them out because it ain't worth the argument. If I don't like the shoes strewn about, I'm just gonna move them myself because I don't want the argument.
True. It's very true.
And it's kind of low key passive aggressive shade to see that you took it out, right? Or that you moved the shoes, or that the bottles miraculously have moved. And so for me, I kind of feel a little like vengeance in doing that, and I think it's healthy. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope that answered your question, darling.
No, that's absolutely
that's good advice. That's good advice.
Now, Sabine, you have a question for TT too, I think.
Yes, I do. So I enjoy going out and having our me time. Yeah. My question is, being married with kids, what would you recommend a healthy balance with going out or going on vacation, maybe like once a month or once every other month?
I love you so much. Wait a minute. Hold on. Baby, you want to go on vacation once a month?
No, sometimes we do a staycation every now and then. Prior to being married, we did go on vacation a lot.
Out.
Maybe
y'all was out in the streets. Y'all was out. Y'all was flying. Y'all was fluing out. Y'all was getting flown out.
Yeah. Things change now. Once you have kids, we do squeeze in our date nights, but I'm like, how often would you recommend with kids a healthy balance of going out or like a vacation?
So the babies are young. The baby's young, right?
Yes.
And so what's the situation? Who's watching the babies? Mama them, babysitter, nanny? What we got going on?
Family, mostly immediate family, mom, sister, aunties.
I think your normal of traveling once a month is healthy for y'all. If the finances dictate that you can do it, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Mama didn't want to keep that baby anyway. This TT2, bring me the babies to me, child. I watch them. If you got family that you trust and you're not worried about the child, I love the generational time with the elders of the family and the different layers that builds with kids when they have their own time with their grandparents or their aunties and their uncles apart from their parents, and how they nurture those relationships while mom and dad get to nurture their relationship. Because just because you have kids, it doesn't mean that y'all are not a couple. And you've got to keep that fire going in the relationship. You don't want that to suffer. And so if the normal for y'all is we be out once a month, or, now that we have kids, maybe we got to alter that to once every 2 months, and the finances dictate that we can do it, and the people that we have in our lives are okay with keeping the kids for us, and we trust them, then why not? Baby, live. You can crawl. Y'all, it sounds like y'all have crawled, and so you can allow yourself to ball every now and then. Auntie ain't about crawling forever. It's crawl before you ball, not crawl and drag yourself to an empty grave. No, live your life. And if travel and making memories together as a couple and bonding is important to you all, and that's how you started your relationship, there is no problem with continuing that. As long as the finances dictate we can do it, we still saving and investing at the levels that we supposed to. We putting up money for the babies. We have people in our lives that are watching the kids that we want to have around the kids because they're going to impart things to them that we can't do ourselves.
Absolutely.
That's fine. Auntie ain't got no problems with it at all, baby.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. Okay.
That's great advice.
All right, we're going to Jamaica next month.
All right. Hey, invite Auntie and Uncle too, okay?
Look out for your invite.
I will look out for my invite. Well, thank y'all so much for your time today. I really appreciate your open and honest discussion with TT. I love to see young, Black, beautiful couples who are doing what they're supposed to do. And you can show everybody that you can be fly and you can have kids and own properties and own businesses and still go on vacation and still live and still crawl before you ball. Okay? Auntie
Yes,
loves
that
it.
is
I love it.
right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm probably gonna hit y'all up because y'all are a good example, and I'm probably gonna do some other stuff with y'all. So just my team will probably be getting in touch with
Oh,
y'all.
we here. We could talk about our businesses and how we plan financially as
Oh,
well.
what? Scroll back. Hold up. Oh, tell me about. Okay, y'all done moved into daughter and son level. Okay, what? Tell me about these businesses and how y'all plan. Because you done already told me that Sabine decorated the office. It did all the stuff, so you didn't have to pay an interior designer, which Auntie loves. Okay, go ahead, tell me. Enlighten me.
So first, we're real estate investors and developers, right?
Yes.
So the houses that that we buy, she designs and we sell them. So that's out, and they sell quickly when they walk into that house and see the
Of course they
design.
do. Do you
Come
build
on.
in the cost for the stuff you put in the house?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Love it.
So also my primary book of business is like similar to you. I say your beginnings were in mortgage loan brokerage. I own a fund that do first lien positions of real estate. So it's called
I
Brooklyn
love
Funding
y'all.
Group. So I help people fix and flip, develop 1 to 100 units if they want. We fund all that, and we're the first Black-owned lending company in this space in the United States. So like,
Wait a minute, hold up. We're not gonna skip past that. Say that one more time, Black excellence.
Right.
we are the first Black-owned private lender for real estate in the United States.
And what's the name of the company?
Brooklyn Funding Group.
And where do they find Brooklyn Funding Group, baby?
BrooklynFundingGroup.com.
And we're gonna make sure that's all there so everybody can see it, because what we're gonna do is support what? Black business and excellence.
right.
Go
Black
ahead.
business.
That's right.
So I think it's very important for couples to like have a plan. We had a plan before we got married. Like, listen, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, and then the family is gonna do this.
Right.
So that's our next endeavor. Talk about the next.
So our next endeavor is building group homes for people who are developmentally disabled. So our plan to do that, we took out a span of like maybe 2 years to get it off the ground, and we're in the process of doing that now. And I'll oversee that while he oversees Brooklyn Funding Group, and we collaborate and build an empire together.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, y'all make Titi so happy. You make me so happy. Now I'm gonna get in your business. What we doing with our taxes? How we filing? Married file joint, married file separate. What we doing?
Separate.
Yes, that's my babies. That's my babies. These my babies. These my babies. Yes, these are my babies. And the reason that we file separate, daughter and son, is what?
So I could take the deduction separately, right? And my my CPA is like, yo, dude, you don't want to bring all of that over here. And I'm like, all right, you got it.
Yes, when you own businesses, it's imperative to file separately. And yes, married filing separate is a sucky filing status in terms of you're not getting all the benefits of married filing joint, but you just don't want to commingle all that with the IRS. You just don't. And I'm so happy that my babies already knew that. I'm so very proud. Oh, I'm so proud.
Thank you.
Let's talk about one more time. We got group homes coming. Yeah. And there's plenty of money in that space. My husband's a physician, so Auntie know about that. Mm-hmm. He's a psychiatrist, so geriatrics and people, baby, y'all, yes, this is generational, heavy generational wealth. And we are first lien position. We are giving out money for folks so they can invest in their futures. We are giving back by teaching you how to do it, helping you get in a place. And what is the name of the company again, nephew?
Brooklyn Funding Group.
BrooklynFundingGroup.com. Y'all are so great. I'm so proud. I feel so blessed to be in your presence today, and I'm filled with a spirit of gratitude. And I could not be even more proud than I am right now. I really, really. And I think sometimes when you're young and you're doing all this stuff, people don't say that to you enough. Well, Titi gonna say y'all got it going on. Okay?
Oh, thank you, Titi.
You need to know that. You need to know that. Keep up the good work. I'm gonna keep in touch with y'all. And if y'all looking for some investors, maybe holler at Auntie. All right, okay.
I'm calling you.
Call me. Call Titi. Call Titi. All right. And if you have a question for Titi, all you have to do is text CBYB to 404-737-1091.
right, Auntie Buffy, we got some questions.
What you got, Co?
Dear Buffy, I have 2 small children and want to make the best choices for their financial future. I'm nowhere near wealthy, but I would love to raise trust fund babies. Do you recommend 529 plans? What's the best option in today's economy to save for the future?
I love your question. Thank you so much for submitting your question to us. So, baby, I'm so glad that you're ready to raise a trust fund baby. Trust fund babies, yes, that's what we need to do. No, you don't need a lot of money. You can start with $25 a month. You can start with $50 a month. You can start with whatever your finances dictate, because compound interest is a beautiful thing. It's just putting the money away and forgetting about it and letting compound interest do its thing. So Auntie, there are 529 plans, which are basically investment accounts that parents set up with tax advantages for your kids to use for college or trade school or whatever when they grow up. Auntie's more of a fan of a UTMA, which is a custodial account that the parents or aunties or uncles or grandma and grandpa manage, where you can put money away for the kids, tax deferred, all the things, but you don't have any penalties if the kid decides they don't want to go to college. With the uncertainty with AI and jobs of the future and college, changing and kids also determining that they may not want to go to college. They may want to start a business. They may want to be a social media influencer. They may want to go into the family business. They may want to go on a holiday for a year and figure out what they want to do with their life, like our nephew Aiden did. And you want to be able to fund that. You can do it with a UTMA. You get the option. You can pay for their wedding. You can do whatever you want with the money and not have a penalty for using the money for that. I think UTMAs they give more flexibility for life to happen, because everybody isn't going to go with that same, I'm going to go to college, then I'm going to go to grad school, and then I'm going to go get a corporate job mentality. And Auntie is not down in that. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing at all, but that may not be the future for your child. And you won't know until then. So why not set yourself up for success to have the option for your child to do what they want to do and to set them up as trust fund babies. And I love your question about, do you need a lot of money? I think a lot of people think you need to be Rockefellers to do that. You don't. You really don't. We can crawl before we ball our way into investing for our children. When you get your tax refund every year, your annual lotto winnings, as Auntie calls it, why don't you put that money up for the babies? Why don't you just take 1,000 of that and put it up for the baby every year, instead of spending it all on tomfoolery that you have no money to show for after 3 months, after tax season is over? And listen, I ran a tax practice for 20 years, so I know what y'all be doing with them during tax refunds, and be calling my office 3 weeks later talking about, where my state refund at? And I'm like, how you already spent $7,000 tax refund? No. Make it a practice of that annual lotto winnings for the ones of y'all who are getting free money, i.e. earned income tax credit and refundable credits, meaning money the government is giving you for free that you didn't pay in tax. Make sure you save and invest that money in your kids' future as well as yours. If you have questions for Auntie Buffy, text your question to 404-737-1091 and be sure to text CBYB, which is Crawl Before You Ball. And Auntie might feature your question on an upcoming episode of Crawl Before You Ball.
All right, this next question comes from your Crawl Before You Ball text community. Hey Buffy, I'm in Southern California and I am a part of your first Crawl Before You Ball class. The first thing I want to know is, how is head of household determined?
Okay, first of all, yes, Auntie has a class, Crawl Before You Ball. Google it. But hey, your question, and good for you, baby. You said, how do you determine head of household? Is your messy? Now, Auntie about to get you all the way together. Are you married? Because that's why you asked me this question. This is a messy, loaded behind question. How you determine head of household is, tax-wise, is you a single person caring for a dependent child. If you anyway is marriaged, not are, is marriaged, head of household is not a filing status that you can use. And if you being messy like, I'm head of household because I make more money than my husband, stop. Stop the tomfoolery. When you get married, it ain't your income no more. It's y'all's income, unless you got a prenuptial agreement in place. Okay, next question.
I've been legally married for 2 years now, and I have doubts about changing my name and filing taxes with my husband. He is financially linked to his ex-wife. How? His ex-wife somehow got a HELOC on the home they shared when they were together without his knowledge. He found out about the loan when we went to get me a car 5 years ago. She has done little to nothing to take his name off. What makes it bad for us is every time we attempt to buy anything, a house or a car, that cow has a recent missed payment, and it shows up on his credit. It could be a coincidence. My questions are, is it a bad thing that I will not file taxes with my husband?
Let's take that first. No, it is not bad that you're not filing taxes with your husband, because he is still linked to his ex. And what we're not going to do is have her tomfoolery messing with your status with the Internal Revenue Service. And so now I go back to this head of household question. So I see what you've been doing. You've been thinking you could file head of household, he could file single. We cannot. We cannot. I get what you're doing, baby, but no, we cannot. That's against tax law. You were doing that to get away with not filing with him, but you can file filing status married, filing separate. Yes, filing status married, filing separate is gonna mess with your tax refund if you got kids. Yep, you won't be entitled to earned income credit if you were somebody that files for earned income credit. And so if you want to file married filing jointly so that you can get those tax benefits and not lose out on now that, you need to file what's called an injured spouse form. And you, darling, are the injured spouse. You're the person that does not have the debt. So I would say get with an accountant. Don't be using no blah, blah crap tax software. Get with an accountant, a tax accountant, and make sure that if you want to file jointly so that you can take advantage of the tax deductions and savings, because it is low key the best filing status, especially with kids. And I don't hear that y'all got businesses and all this other stuff going on. You can protect yourself by filing the injured spouse form. And what will happen is if her stuff creeps up into his tax situation, they will only allocate it toward him and not you. What's the next question? Oh, and the other thing is, baby, it's time to get a lawyer anyway. It's time to get a lawyer anyway, because what did the divorce decree say about loans and all that stuff? All that stuff will get cleaned out when we get divorced. And so how she done got a HELOC, I want to delve into more of that. How she got the HELOC when y'all divorced, a home equity line of credit on a property, and it got his name on it and ain't paying it on time, which is adversely affecting his credit. The money you need to spend is on an attorney to get him out of that situation, to force her to pay that off. And you can. And what happens is either she pays it off or the house has to be sold. Choose. Either you refinance and pay that off or come up with the money to pay that HELOC off, or you got to sell the house. Choose, darling, because what we're not going to do is have you affecting my new marriage. What was the other question?
The other question is it wrong for her to not file taxes with him? And are there benefits to filing taxes together?
So yeah, Auntie kind of discussed that before, but it's not wrong. And I want us to get out of the mentality of thinking that it's a bad thing to choose not to file jointly with your spouse. Auntie and Uncle been married for 20 years. We don't file together because we both own businesses and it's just too complex. And so that doesn't mean that I don't love my spouse or that we're separated in life because we choose to file the filing status married filing separate. Just means that it's just cleaner for us to file separate tax returns. There's nothing wrong with that. And then furthermore, keep people out your damn business. They don't need to know if you file a married file joint, married file separate anyway, right? Okay. The benefits of filing married filings jointly are that you do get to keep up with if you're qualified for earned income tax credit, you get that. You get the refundable tax credits. You're not limited in any of your deductions. When you file married filing separate, yes, there are a whole bunch of things that the IRS caps that you can't take advantage of. And so it may not be the filing status for y'all. But like I said before, because of your unique situation, and I've seen it many times in the 20 years that I was in practice as a tax practitioner, the way you protect yourself is by filing an injured spouse form. And a lot of people are like, well, who's the injured spouse? The spouse that ain't got the drama is the one that's injured. And that's you, darling. Y'all got Auntie all the way messed up. Why y'all stay getting me messed up with this mess? How you hiding money from your spouse? How you have secret accounts? How you have secret income? One of y'all wrote Auntie and said that y'all get VA benefits and your spouse don't know. And how that's possible? How you got whole VA benefits, non-taxable VA benefits? You got 100% with your VA benefits, meaning you get about $5,000 a month that your spouse don't know nothing about. How How that happen? Why get married? Why just not stay roommates? I don't understand. And how hiding this stuff from each other damages trust in a relationship. If I can't trust you with my coins, how am I gonna trust you with my life? That doesn't make sense to TT. Why are you hiding from your spouse? All too many times y'all emailing me and texting me and DMing me. Well, it's my money and it's this and it's that. And he don't need to know or she don't need to know. Or I gotta take care. Like, why in the world did y'all get married? Why are y'all together? If it's gonna be you, me, or she or he, then don't get married. Keep it separate. Marriage is joining your life together, joining your finances together, joining everything. It's compromise. It's having discussions. It's disclosing assets and liabilities. It's not hiding stuff and putting money in the chicken coop some darn well, hoping he don't know about it in case he gonna leave me. Stop. Now listen, mama ain't raised no fool either over here. Auntie does have a separate account, but Uncle Dave knows about it. Do we have access to it? Hell no. And it don't. But he knows about it because I had it before we got married and I had a prenuptial agreement in place. Okay? So plan, disclose, be real with each other, quit hiding stuff. Y'all listening to these darn friends who relationships ain't worth crap telling you, girl, boy, you shouldn't be telling him all that. You shouldn't do this. Quit listening to them. They don't know what they're talking about. Full disclosure is best. That doesn't mean they gotta have access to it. When realistically, if something happened to you and you married, they're gonna get access to it. But if it's important for you to not have them have access to it as part of your, this was me before we were we, then discuss that. There's nothing wrong with that. Quit being afraid to talk about money. Auntie say this all the time. Y'all is bumping and grinding and doing all this other stuff, but y'all don't want to talk about no darn money. Stop hiding. Stop lying. Stop being deceitful, because it's going to tear up the very fabric and foundation of your relationship. And again, most relationships, most marriages break up because of money issues. And a lot of people think it's because we couldn't pay the bills. Sometimes it's because you was hiding stuff from me. Sometimes it's because I didn't know that he had this whole separate account that he didn't disclose, and I'm over here struggling to pay these student loans. Sometimes it's because we didn't have these discussions that married people are supposed to have about what our hopes and dreams are for the future. And it breaks away at trust. And you want to be able to trust the person that you lay your head next to every night. You want to be able to trust the person that you're trying to build a life with. And you can still be you in a we. It's okay. You can be you in a we. We have things that are for us and we have things that are for me. But I'm going to tell you about what I want for me or what I had for me before we were a we. And as long as it's all discussed and out in the open, nobody should have any problems with it. Because that's just another tool that we can use if something does happen for the we part and we need access to it. Now, if the person got problems with it, then maybe we got to deal with that. But that's part of being in a relationship. Being in a relationship is, disagreements. Being in a relationship is not agreeing on everything. But it also is about compromise. And it's also about not lying to each other and hiding stuff. If you're going to do all that, stay single, okay? I ain't got time for that. And don't have me yelling and cussing and fussing at y'all when y'all done went through and made everybody go through this expensive ass marriage and you're behind talking about it's my money. No, it ain't. It's y'all's money, period. And you need to reframe your mind to think that way. It's y'all together. And if you have stuff separately, that's okay. But each party needs to know about it. All right, nieces and nephews, love y'all so much. We've come to Auntie's assignment. I really love doing this podcast, y'all, because I want y'all to listen, learn, be entertained, but then also take what you're learning and implement it into your daily life. Take these financial terms and jargon that we're speaking and put it in your daily vernacular. You need to eat, breathe, sleep, love, everything crawl before you ball, okay? Auntie wants you guys to take away a few things from this episode. Number one, I need y'all to hit up brooklynfundinggroup.com, link below, baby, for my niece and nephew's company. If you buying your first home, and you heard them say that they have funded a lot in the Atlanta area, so shout out, but they nationwide, period, it sounds like. We talked about discussing when to discuss finances in a relationship when you're dating. Do you do it early on? Auntie, like I said, it's kind of cray, and she would probably do it at speed dating, asking what somebody's credit score is, but Auntie is extreme. I think a balance would be the point at which you start to introduce people to the family and you're thinking about maybe going the next step to live together or getting married and you're serious. You need to determine who that person is financially. Voicing disagreements. Do you discuss it now or do you at the time when you're in the heat of the moment, or do you wait? If you messy like TT and if it'll fester, I think you need to discuss it in the moment. And you need to ask your partner, which is what I do with Uncle Dave. I'll say, hey, I'm going to yell and cuss and fight and all that. Please don't take it personally. Let me get it all out. And then I'm going to sit down and be quiet. And I'm going to listen to what you have to say. If you're somebody that it won't fester, then wait till you guys it's cooled down. But be careful not to sound petty and wait to a time where they did something wrong and you want to bring it up then. That's not always healthy. We talked about 529 plans versus UTMAs. 529 plans are great for putting up money for your kids. Auntie prefers UTMA, which is a custodial account, because it offers you the freedom of the kids using the money for life's events, life's changes. The kid may not decide, or kids may decide that they don't want to go to college. They may want to get married, and you can use the money for the wedding. They may want to buy a car. They may want to go on a trip for a year and see the world. And determine what they want to do with the rest of their life. And how wonderful would it be for folk that look like us to afford our children that opportunity too. I ain't excluding the rest of y'all. Uncle Dave White. I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, we talked about taxes. And one of my messy nieces was like, I'm head of household. I make more money than my spouse. No. When you get married, it's your money together. You guys are joint. You're combining your life. You're combining your future together. And so it's not my money, his money, or her money. It's our money. And in terms of taxes, head of household is you are a single person who cares for a qualifying child. Anywhere that marriage is in there, you can't use that filing status. Married filing separate is not a bad thing. It works for a lot of couples who have complex tax situations. And if you're a couple who has a complex tax situation and you need to file married filing joint because it just nets you a better tax outcome, then I say file an injured spouse form. And you say, Auntie, who's the injured spouse? The injured spouse is the person that doesn't have the debt. It's as simple as that. We also talked about financial infidelity, secret accounts, having money here and there and everywhere and not telling your spouse about it, loaning your sister money all the time and not telling your spouse about it. That's a no-no. We're not doing that. It's okay to help family occasionally, but we need to talk to our spouse about it, because remember what Auntie said before, we ain't roommates. We are married. We're all the way marriaged. So we're joint. And so we have to jointly agree that we're about to help out so-and-so. And it may help you to have your spouse be a part of that, because they can help you determine whether you are actually helping the person or are you enabling them. Now, Auntie talks about all these topics in her book, Crawl Before You Ball. Link below. All the links are below. And if you love this podcast as much as I do, please download it. Please like, share, subscribe, all the things to support your auntie so I can keep this going. Okay? Part of the ACAST Pod Network. I love y'all so much, and I will see y'all next week. Smooches.